The 1960 Porsche 356 Super was one of the cars that launched the Porsche legend. But where was the true birthplace of the Porsche brand? Where and how were the first Porsches built? We've set out in search of answers, traveling in appropriate style in a classic Porsche convertible. The picturesque town of Gmünd in Austria is home to a small but exclusive Porsche museum. It was founded by Helmut Pfeifhofer. As a boy, he witnessed the beginnings of the Porsche brand and decided to devote his life to it. His first car was a Porsche 356 that he bought in 1957. That first Porsche became the first piece in his collection. Pfeifhofer bought up all the antiques he could find that had anything to do with Porsche. He opened his museum in 1982. The collection is centered around the original Porsche, the 356, such as this 1952 coupe version, the bent window, as it's known to connoisseurs. Today, this rarity can't be had for less than 100,000 euros, if at all. This white 356 convertible, once owned by a Gmünd nobleman, has a special place in Pfeifhofer's collection. The little town could be called the birthplace of the Porsche brand. It happened in a plain little workshop by the Maltetalstrasse, easy to overlook without the sign. At the end of World War II, this hut served as Porsche's first design department. It's hard to imagine that this early model, later produced in Stuttgart, had its humble origins here in Austria. The model that launched a cult that continues to this day, that became synonymous with the high-end sports car. Even today, its 75 horsepower engine keeps it moving in traffic with no problem. At first, Porsche built its cars in Gmünd, moving to Stuttgart in 1950. The Gmünd facility fell into disrepair. Pfeifhofer realized its historical value and saved it from demolition in the 1980s. He recalls the operation was so primitive that employees used to work in the open, doing repairs and things. He enjoyed watching them work on the various prototypes, such as the Type 64 Berlin de Rome racing model. He found this was a lot more interesting than going back to work in the fields. During the Second World War, Porsche's design department moved back to Gmünd to work in relative peace. Ferdinand Porsche Sr. and Jr. worked on various projects, including engines, complete automobiles, and even ski lift drives. For the sake of simplicity, the projects were given three-digit numbers. After the war, Ferdinand Porsche Sr. was arrested and accused of developing war materials for the German Wehrmacht. At the same time, the Porsche sports car brand was taking off. As Helmut Pfeifhofer tells us, Ferdinand Porsche Jr. used his time in Gmünd to develop a car of his own. He was always on hand for the development and test drives, but he could never really get out of his brilliant father's shadow. The first car to bear the Porsche name was a little roadster with a design number 356, seen here on an early test drive together with an MG. The comparison gives some idea of how futuristic even this first Porsche must have seemed. This first Porsche did not have its engine in the rear, as later models did, but in the middle, right behind the driver. Porsche had invented the mid-engine sports car for street driving. Ferdinand Sr. was impressed. The company started mass-producing the car, using a number of parts from old VWs in a military depot. Helmut Pfeifhofer lists the front and rear axles, engines and transmissions. Even the 20th car rolled out still had a steering wheel from a VW Kübelwagen. The riveted rims also came from the military vehicles, with these narrow 5x16 tires. Those were the beginnings in Gmünd. 52 cars were built by hand in Austria. A unique feature of the Gmünd coupes was the hand-built aluminum body. About 30 coupes and 4 convertibles are known to exist today. Pfeifhofer turned up his specimen in the 1980s. He found the Gmünd coupe in a garden in Hainburg and bought it for 28,000 Austrian shillings, only about $2,000 US at the time. At first, he didn't even know what he had. Today, it's invaluable. The Porsche name by itself has helped to drive the prices to astronomical heights. Nowadays, a 356 in good condition commands six-figure sums. Porsche enthusiasts like Helmut Pfeifhofer certainly know what they have now.